Hey everyone, Sean from Buckeye Wedding Expo here. We're going to be talking today with Loann and Darian from Furst Florist on floral tips for your wedding. Loann and Darian, how are you today?
We're doing great. We're doing great. Thanks for inviting us.
Thanks for coming and thanks for sharing all of your experience on floral at a wedding. So first, I'd like to everyone just to hear more about Furst Florist. So tell me more about Furst.
Sure. Furst Florist, we are a very, very old, long established florist in the Dayton area. Fifth generation is currently actively involved. We're 121 years old this year. So we've been around a long time. And like I said, fifth generation, we've got greenhouses in operation, and we specialize in everything from everyday celebrations, tribute, celebrations of life, and Darian and I specialize in the weddings and events.
Weddings have got to be a fantastic opportunity to showcase flowers, I would assume. You guys do large scale, small scale. I mean, I have been to weddings that have been incredible. Tell me more about the options that are at a wedding that Furst provides.
Oh, absolutely. So we're unique in among the florists in the area. We do not have a minimum. As long as we have design capacity, we will talk to you about flowers for your wedding. We do everything from very small and intimate events to very grand scale, full day, 2 and 3 day events. We do all kinds of it.
Well, when it comes to the grand scale things, I know budget is important. So you had some tips that you were going to share on budgeting for your flowers.
Yes, absolutely. So one of the questions that Darian and I get asked a lot is, how much do flowers cost? How much should I set aside of my wedding budget for the floral portion? So as a general rule of thumb, and this is if you look at your entire wedding budget, everything from shoes to makeup, invitations, hair, and the flowers, how much should floral be a part of that budget? And a rule of thumb, we typically say
10% of your overall budget should go to florals. But that's a jumping springboard point. You can go up or down from there.
If florals are really, really important to you, we have seen wedding budgets where 50% of their entire wedding budget goes to floral. Those are really intense events. Those are fun for us to do. But that's not necessarily the case.
And we can also work with your budget. If you bring us a look, we can kind of work within what you're thinking and try to get you that look for whatever budget you're working with.
So knowing that budget when you come in, that really helps us so we can steer the conversation. You might have very, very, very expensive taste, and we're going to work to see if we can get that within, making floral choices, making selections to make that a little more palatable and within your budget.
And that's why we love having our in-person consultations so much, so we can really get a feel for what your vibe is, what you're going for the day. So then we can kind of talk you through how we can get you to your end goal.
Also, a lot of things that I've seen in the past at these fantastic weddings have been almost integration of flowers into things, hanging on trusses, things like that. Tell me a little bit more about what primetime party room would call a statement piece when it comes to florals.
That's definitely where it gets fun for us. So like chandeliers over dance floors, large hanging greenery on lighting. We love to do all those kind of large scale statement wow pieces.
And that can be anything from suspended, like you mentioned, to large floral towers, large floral arches, full floral walls, anything that's on the grand scale. Those are going to be very important when it comes to factoring into your budget too.
Yeah.
Because those tend to be the higher dollar items.
But they're also going to be in all of your photos. A lot of guests like to use them as photo backdrops. So spending some of your budget there can be really worth it if you use it right.
Well, here I am talking about it, so I think it did its job. When it comes to flowers, just in general, having a theme or making all the colors match and everything, that is an art, and I'm sure something that you've spent years perfecting. Tell me more about how it all works when it comes to choosing colors and the palette and the flowers and everything making it all come together into a fantastic wedding.
So if you can do some advanced homework, we want to know your style, your vibe, your personal aesthetic. So we always recommend doing a little bit of advanced homework, putting together a Pinterest board, putting together Canva, doing something like a PDF that you can either bring to a consultation or you can send to us in advance. So we get a visual, sometimes the words that you would tell us, like, I like this look, doesn't necessarily line up with maybe what we see on pictures. So having pictures to back up what your aesthetic or your vibe is really helpful for us. So planning ahead. And Darian we were talking about colors and color combinations, and that's a big question that we get asked when brides come in.
And if you pin, we can look at your Pinterest board and kind of find what your middle, like what you keep coming back to, and we can pull that out and then give you different ideas of ways to add interest and things like that, and kind of nail down your color palette, add some colors in that you didn't even think of that'll make everything pop, and really work with that Pinterest that you brought in.
And it doesn't necessarily have to be the same color, right? There's complementary colors in the wheel and things that work on a color palette, and you'll help them, guide them through those things.
Yeah, sometimes adding just one extra color to your palette can really make things pop, even if it doesn't exactly match your bridesmaids' dresses. Or it will also, we know those color wheel things that you've learned in kindergarten, to make it really pop and stand out and give you that full good look.
So sometimes a couple will come in and they'll have one color, and some brides will get very obsessed about making sure it matches. Well, actually, it's much more visually interesting if those colors don't necessarily match but complement. So that's where we can bring in additional colors that'll complement. If you're talking about blues, which can be difficult in floral, but are all the rage right now, blues and greens, we can suggest some other colors that we can add to that to just add some more visual interest. And so that can go a long way in achieving your overall look, but really making it special for the day.
So in achieving the overall look, I see there are the florals integrating in with the tablescape, if you will. Do you guys rent the centerpieces? Do you include the centerpieces? How does that work as far as like who is responsible for what when looking at a beautiful tablescape?
Well, first of all, Sean, I'm glad that you incorporated the word tablescape. That's very good. That's impressive. So, and that's what we do. We create tablescapes. That is the overall design and the look that appears on your tables. So,
yeah, we have a ton of rental items, and we can go as far into your tablescape as you want, or if you want to do we just complement it with flowers, we can do that as well.
Mm-hmm. We work with local vendors too. So a lot of the rental companies in the area will work with pieces that they have and then incorporate them with pieces that we have. We do have a vast inventory of rental items, from some of the items that you see behind us: candles, mechanical candles, lanterns, bases, risers, all kinds of things that we rent. And then if we don't have it, we're going to work with our local area vendors to bring that in, and just so we have a cohesive look.
Yeah, we often see that brides don't even know we have such a large inventory of rental items, and we'll suggest adding candles to a certain centerpiece, but they didn't even think about that. So that's where we can really help you elevate your tablescape. Or if you have all of that and you just want us to accent it, then we can do that too.
We were also talking offline about using things in different areas. So is that something that you guys will be on site to help, like move from use the same flowers for a ceremony to a reception? How does that look when it comes to those types of services?
So what we offer, or what we try to do, is make the maximum use of your budget. And so if we can design a beautiful ceremony space, but then use those pieces that we designed for the ceremony space and repurpose them over to the reception, that really helps the budget go far. And you can have a gorgeous look in both the ceremony and the reception just by slight modifications or just moving them from one location to the other. So we do that a lot.
And that would also be for a room flip too, right?
Yeah. So probably the best feat of engineering that we've had recently, creating massive arch pieces, like massive huppah for a Jewish wedding, or just big backdrop gazebos totally covered in flowers. But then every one of those pieces is a centerpiece or an accent piece. And so we'll come back, we'll set the entire event, and then we'll return and do a flip or a transfer.
I like to say we swoop in.
We swoop in, yes. And so a flip would be where the room is completely transformed from the ceremony to the reception. A transfer would be if the ceremony is in one location, and then we're going to transfer those elements from that ceremony to another reception site, whether it's on site or in another location at the same venue. But that's something that has become really, really popular, and it really helps repurpose those flowers from one place to the other. So
Maximizing your budget, really.
Wow, I had no idea. So we talked about a lot of things. Furst Florist offers a lot of services that I had no idea. Wrap it all up in a bow and share some of the best tips for floral at your wedding with our guests.
So I would say our best tips for being prepared for a floral consultation is, if you have an idea for budget, know your budget. About 10% of your entire wedding budget is typically spent on floral. Definitely be prepared.
Be prepared. That will help us maximize your budget, and we'll have better ideas of ways that we can alter things to work within your budget.
And then think about repurposing things from the ceremony to the reception to make the most of your budget and the visual impact that you'll have over your entire wedding day.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Loann and Darian, for sharing all of that. I appreciate it so much. And we will see you at the Buckeye Wedding Expo here in about 2 weeks.
All right. Can't wait.